Hello everyone. Today I am going to discuss you about word decorator. In my last class I have explained and we practiced hands-on like how to use Lightning Data Service LDS. Now today I am going to discuss and we are going to see how to learn word decorator. Okay. So now in LWC apart from LDS, we have where service as well. Now, this where service is not available anywhere else. This is available only for Lightning Web Components. Okay. Now, this is actually one inbuilt service. It's already inbuilt in LWC, which we can use to access like data, Salesforce backend data, any type of backend data including class, affix class, trigger, workflow, etc. So that's the advantage with where service, which we don't have with LDS. Now, this where service is built on top of LDS actually. This is more advanced service we have in LWC. Now, this where service is actually reactive. Reactive means what? It's not proactive, it's reactive. Like we can use this after happening something, like maybe after the page is loaded or after clicking a button like save button, update button, whatever. After that, this where service can be used and we can retrieve data or write data like that. If we want like before loading the page to use this, we will not be able to do that. So this is a reactive service. We use this where decorator in JavaScript class to read data from one of the where adapters. Okay. The use case for using where service is like we can retrieve the records, like get records from the backend, or we can write the record to the backend as well. We can write, we can update, or we can call Apex methods from the backend and get the result. These are some use cases where we are going to use the where service. Now the syntax for the where service, we are going to see this more elaborately later on. For the time being, like you can see here, first we have to import. We have to import on top the where inbuilt class from the LWC, and then we have to use the where decorator, like we use the track decorator, API decorator. We'll use where decorator like this @ where. Now today I was thinking actually that how to explain the whole thing, because there are quite a few things about how we can use where decorator. Uh, it is going to be very long video. In fact, it will take 3-4 hours, or I have to make 3-4 videos for this. So to make it short, I am going to use Trailhead today, and I will explain how I learned myself the word decorator, and then later on we are going to do the project. There we will use word decorator hands-on. Okay, so today I'm going to show you how I learned, because Salesforce Trailhead, they got very good documentation, but it can be quite overwhelming actually when you start in the beginning. So but now we have learned already in first part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. We have learned quite a few topics, so we are uh, quite habituated with like how to develop LWC component, how to deploy, how to see them in production org, and how to use the Visual Studio and all. So I think you will be able to follow this. So to make it short, today I am going to follow Trailhead, and I'm going to explain how to practice word decorator from there. Okay, so first in Google I am typing uh, LWC Specialist Super Badge. Okay, Lightning Web Component Specialist Super Badge. If you want to clear JavaScript Developer Part 1 certifications, this is a part of that. First, you have to complete this Lightning Web Component Specialist. Not first, you can do it later on, but as a part of that, you have to complete this Lightning Web Component Specialist Super Badge, and also you have to pass the exam on JavaScript. Because like basically to do Lightning Web Component, you have understood that you have to be really good in JavaScript. That's the JavaScript is mandatory to do the Lightning Web Component. Okay, so anyway, so here yeah, see the second one, Lightning Web Component and Salesforce data. If I click on that, there you can see use Lightning Data Service LDS, which we have already done hands-on in my last video. Then use Apex to work with data. I will click on that. Yeah, see here. Now, when we use the word decorator, we can use the word decorator also in two ways. Like we can call a Apex class method, and we can use the word decorator like here in the first example I'll explain to you, or we can do without calling any Apex class also. Okay, now for calling Apex class also we have two ways: using the word decorator, and another one without using word decorator. I will discuss that one later. That imperatively call Apex imperatively, not in this video, forget about that now, because today we are going to discuss about word decorator only. Okay, so in this example, what we are going to do, as usual, we do the first, we will create a project, and then normally what we do, authorize the work, we will do that as well. And then instead of creating Lightning Web Component, we will do this, but before doing this, what we are going to do, when you do Control Shift P in the command palette, there are quite a few commands with SFDX. One command will be create Apex class. So we will create Apex class there. We'll give it a name. So this is that Apex class actually. It's written here. Sorry, this one. Okay, this one. So this one is that Apex class. So they gave a name contact controller. So here basically what they are doing, they are retrieving data from contact object. So you can give the name to that Apex class anything, like if you want to follow here, just give it a name contact controller. Okay. And once you do this, already some pre-written syntax will appear like public with sharing class contact controller like this. Now within that class, now at that point I assume that you know the basic Apex because that's important as well. Apex and SOQL. SOQL is like quite like SQL. If you know SQL, then also you'll be able to follow. There will not be any problem. And Apex, if you haven't learned Apex, I would say it's quite similar to Java, in case if you know Java. So if you don't know, you can easily learn. You can follow Trailhead for that also. Now, so after creating the Apex class, you will get this code like public with sharing class contact controller. Within that class, they are creating a method. This one. The method name here is get contacts born after. You can give any name, it doesn't matter. Now, there are some like a prerequisite like this method must be public because it will be accessed by where decorator here. Okay, so it has to be public, otherwise it will not be accessible. So it must be public, it must be static. Okay, why we make static? If you know Apex or Java, you know it's same. Like if it's not static, then to call this method we have to create an object of this class. Okay, so to avoid that, it must be static. So it must be public, must be static, and another condition is that it must return some value. It shouldn't be void. At this point, I assume that you know Apex, so you know what is void method, what is you know uh, data type, and all those things. So it must return some value. It shouldn't be void. So we have to mention the return type here after using public static. So here the return type is list of contact. So from the contact, it will return some records in a list. Okay. So that's why the return type here is a list. It could be anything depending what you are returning. It could be string, it could be number. But here it's a list of contact records. Okay. So that's why the return type mentioned here. Okay. So there must be a return type. It shouldn't be a void method. So these three conditions you got to remember. When you are creating a method here in an Apex controller class, that method must be public, static, and it must return something. It shouldn't be void. So the return type should be mentioned. Okay. Then in this method, this is optional. They are passing a variable, a date variable called birth date. Now it's up to you, you know, how you are designing, it's up to your requirement what you want. So here they are passing this date variable because they are going to use that. Now what is returning this method? It will return inside this return, they are using SOQL. SOQL means what? It's sort of SQL actually, but it's SOQL is specially designed by Salesforce to retrieve data from Salesforce database. Now here you can see select name, title, email, phone from contact. So from contact object, they are retrieving this field where birth date greater than birth date. Now this birth date, this is a variable actually. This value will come here. Okay, it will be passed to the method. From where? It will be passed by the JavaScript class. We will do this later on. Okay, it will be passed from the JavaScript class to the Apex class, this to this method, when we will call this method from the JavaScript. So now first we will finish this one, and when we write here select name, title, email, phone, these are all API name in the contact object. These are not that label. You know what's the difference between label and the API name, I guess. So they should match the exact API name in the object from where they are being retrieved. Here they are retrieving the data from contact object. So if you are not sure about this, you can go to your org, open the contact object, go to object manager, open the contact object, and then fields and relationship. There you can see all the API name. Okay, so here when we do programming, we will always use the API name of all the field. Okay, so select whatever you want to select. If you wanted to select some other field, you could mention here. So here they are retrieving name, title, email, phone from the contact, where they are giving a condition where birth date is after greater than, means the birth date will be after this birth date variable. Within this variable, they are going to pass a real date. Okay. Now, with security enforced, this is a new this is a thing Salesforce has added for security purpose. We have to use this, otherwise your Apex will not work. Okay, this is for extra security, for data security. Salesforce has added that one. So we have to use this command. It's not available in SQL, but especially in SQL. Okay, so this is our Apex controller actually. And then after creating this class, we are going to create a Lightning Web Component, from where we are going to call this Apex class using where decorator. Okay, now once you create the Lightning Web Component, what we get? We get three files. One is that JavaScript file, one is that HTML file, and another one is that XML file. Okay, now this is the JavaScript file. In the JavaScript file, you can copy and paste this code. Okay, so what is happening here? See, they are importing as usual Lightning element, then API and where decorator from LWC. Like I already mentioned that the syntax of where decorator, first you have to import it, so they are importing it, and then they are importing import get contacts born after from. What is this get contacts born after? Okay, first I will discuss from at Salesforce Apex contact controller. What is this contact controller? Contact controller is this class name. Then dot get contacts born after, this method name. Look, yeah, contact controller dot get contacts born after. Okay, so they are basically importing that, and this one is like a variable name, nothing else. Get contacts born after. In place of this name, you can use any other name, ABC, any name, it doesn't matter. But for best practice, it's better to use this method name. Okay, so that we can understand what we are importing. So that's how we will first import that Apex method. Now these things, this activity, this is also where decorator. Okay, this is also where decorator. And this Salesforce here, at the rate Salesforce, that's the namespace. It's actually where module. Okay, so a lot of time we will use, here we used at the rate Salesforce Apex because it's Apex class. Later on you will see we are going to use at the rate Salesforce schema, like when we import any field from objects, suppose first name from contact, so that time we will use at the rate Salesforce schema. Like here you can see adapter module, yeah, Salesforce Apex, Salesforce schema, Lightning platform show toast event, Lightning UI record API. All these are adapter module. Okay, where adapter module, we are going to use these things for different purpose. Now here we have only used Salesforce Apex. Now after that, now see here we are declaring that variable mean birth date. This is a public variable, so that's why we are using the API decorator here. And then to call that function, I mean that method in the Apex, straight away we are just using where decorator. The syntax is like this: where decorator, and we'll call this method get contact born after. Now all the time there will not be any variable that we have to pass, but here in this example we are passing this variable mean birth date. Okay, see here there was the variable birth date, so we are just mentioning here birth date, that is this dollar mean birth date. We declared here mean birth date, so we are using this sign dollar, that means it's dynamically it will take the value. Okay, it's not constant. So like this we use the where decorator. This is a way, like by calling the Apex, but without calling Apex also we can use like update record, get record, all these modules, and we can use the where service. Now what I'm going to do in Google, I will write yes, this is what I was looking for. Now in the last example in the trailhead which we discussed, there we were calling the Apex class, but here we don't even need to call the Apex class. We don't need to write any server-side controller. That Apex class we wrote, that is basically server-side controller. But without writing any server-side controller also we can use the where decorator. Okay. Now this link I will mention in description. You can go there and you can read here like one by one. This is update record, there is get record also. Get record will be used to retrieve the data. Create record, delete record, okay, update record, they can be used very easily and without writing any server-side controller, like without writing any Apex class, we can perform the DML operation. Like we can retrieve data, we can update data, we can delete data, we can create data like this. Now here also in this example, if you see, so now I'm just explaining you how to practice this. When you will practice, you will create the Lightning Web Component straight away. You don't need to create the Apex class. So once you create the Lightning Web Component, you will get 3 files. This script, this code is going to be in the JavaScript, file. Okay, in the JavaScript file, see you are importing where, also you are importing get record. from where? This is not from @Salesforce. This is from Lightning namespace. Like here, as I was telling you that time, like Salesforce is a namespace. Within that namespace, there is Salesforce Apex, Salesforce Schema. Now Lightning is a namespace as well. Within Lightning namespace, there is platform show toast event that will be used for toast message. Later on, we will use those things in our project. Within Lightning namespace, also we have UI record API. Now within this UI record API, all these things will come. Get record, delete record, update record. All these things comes under UI Lightning UI record API. Okay. So if we use this, see what's happening here. We are using wire decorator, and within wire decorator, we are calling this get record. Here they are using get record because they are getting the record, retrieving the record. Okay. So that time we are using get record, and what record they are getting, you have to mention that here. Like before, we were using all these like field name uh, in the SOQL in server-side controller Apex class. But now we don't have any server-side controller or Apex class. Sorry. So we are using them within this wire decorator. Okay. So within wire decorator, we are passing this get record method and all this data field which we are going to retrieve. Okay. So record ID and the fields. This is a good example here. Okay. Practice this whole example. I could show all these things hands-on, but it's going to take a really long time. I have to make 3-4 videos on that. So that's why I thought you have already gained the basic knowledge. If you have watched my part 1, part 2, part 3 and part 4, you are clear about the basic thing. Okay, what's happening in the Lightning Web Component, the basic structure. If you are clear about that, you can follow along here. Okay, and if you can't, if you have any question, just comment below. I'll make video on those subjects. Okay, if you are not clear with anything. So in this example, this is a good example. See this thing, I wanted to show you this also. Import name field from Salesforce schema account.name. So here they are accessing the account object. Okay, so from the account object they are importing name field. What is this name? This name is the API name. Okay, and owner name field. What is this? Account.owner.name. Phone field, account.phone. Industry field, account.industry. So these are also a decorator. Okay, this is just like a variable name. You can give any name, ABCD, doesn't matter. But for the best practice, mostly we use the field name like this: name field, owner name field, phone field, industry field, like this. Okay, now after that they are using wire decorator here, and they are passing get record. So that means they are retrieving the data here. Okay, record ID, fields. Within fields they have mentioned this name field, owner name, all those stuff. Then get name. This is simple JavaScript. Okay, you can understand that they are getting the value of each field here, and this is the HTML file to show all those data. Okay, name, industry, phone, owner. These values are coming from where? From this JavaScript. See, this dot account dot data owner name field. Okay, so these are the value of each field which is being passed on the HTML UI here. Okay, now this is an example where it's showing the error handling. All these things, you just open your Visual Studio and practice hands-on, then it will be clear. And also all these things, see, get record data, create record, update record, delete record, all examples are there. Handle errors, understand the web service, all examples are there. Just click one by one, go there and see. They already gave like example, really nice example. Everything is given here. Practice all of them one by one in Visual Studio. Okay, so in this video, uh, I really just explained the thing how you can learn, and I am sure if you have watched my previous videos, you'll be able to follow along. The Salesforce, this developers guide got a really nice documentation. You can practice all of this hands-on and you can see what's happening. Then your web service will be clear, I think. If you have any question or anything, just feel free to comment that what you want to know. Then for any specific like use case, for any specific uh, requirement, we can discuss that more. Okay, and I'll try to help you out. My next topic will be how you can call Apex class imperatively, and then pub sub, and quite a few topics at the testing. We have to discuss the testing also. And then soon I want to start some project, or maybe I am also feeling a little bit boring actually, so I want to do some project on LWC. So maybe before covering the test and all, I will start a project. Like maybe I haven't decided yet, but I will do some live project, hands-on project along with you. Okay, so stay tuned and watch my video. And if you have any question about web service, whatever I have discussed today, in case if you don't understand any part here, so just leave a comment. I'll come back to you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye bye.